Hey, how's it going? Welcome to DylanTalks Tone. This is the podcast that we talk about guitar tone. Once a week, we get together and just have a little chat about what's going on, not only in the business, but also what's going on in your guitar. The things that have been kind of popular in social media, and also questions that we have coming in from readers. My name is Dylan McCurchie. This is DylanTalks Tone, and this is going to, like I said, it's going to be a weekly installment. This is number one. So in the first episode, I'll just kind of give you a little bit of a concept of what we're doing here. First of all, we are broadcasting it on Periscope Live, and then we're also going to broadcast it on Facebook Live. So that's happening right now. It will be uploaded to iTunes. It will be uploaded to Zune. It will be uploaded to SoundCloud. All your normal podcast locations where you'll be able to find this stuff. So that's going to be pretty cool. And also, we're going to do a video version for YouTube. So it won't be a very exciting watch because, I'm just sitting here talking into a microphone. However, we're going to have some very cool stuff happening. And in upcoming weeks, it's going to get even cooler. So let me just give you a little background. My name is Dylan. Like I said, I own DylanPickups.com, and I'm a pickup builder. And my background is the fact that I've been playing guitar since I was about 6 years old. And I never really went down the professional musician route. So what that means is I toured for a while. I did play in a couple of bands on the East Coast, this and that. My dad was a producer. He is a producer, actually, in the video side now, also in the audio side. So my focus really in the last, ever since I was a kid, was actually how things sounded. I play guitar and I play in front of people and I really enjoy playing live music, but my focus is making things sound good. That has always been a thing for me. So when it came time to open Dylan Pickups and do that whole sort of thing, I thought I'm gonna just really focus on not really what the market is doing. Everybody is building parts and they're doing various things like that. But focusing on what the player really wants to hear, what they're trying to hear, because that's what you spend the time in the studio doing. That's what you spend the time even on the road doing. You have a sound in your head and you're trying to get it out of your head and get it out interpreted the way you think of it in your mind. So that is something that, and it's hard to do. It eludes a lot of people. So focusing on the tone itself. And what's interesting about it is over the years, because of the way tradition in the music industry and the way in the gear side of the industry goes, a lot of things have become practice that have quote unquote defined tone. So when we say Dylan Talks Tone on a weekly basis, what we want to do is break that down for you, much like our Dylan Talks Tone episodes on YouTube do. Real technical stuff, but pretty easy to understand, but we want to put it more into a conversation. Eventually what we'd like to do is have it very user driven to where you're asking questions right now. Obviously I can't answer them because I can't see on the screens and what's going on. So what I'd like to do is you ask questions and then next week we talk about that stuff. When we have a subject that I am not really strong on, and even if I am, it doesn't matter. We're going to bring in some people that really are, because we want it to be real exciting for y'all. We want to be able to have pedal manufacturers and amp manufacturers and all kinds of people that really know their stuff in tone. So what do I mean by this? What do we say when we're talking about tone? Everything from the guitar pick to the speaker. So, and including our hands. A lot of times people say, well, this particular gear is responsible for this particular tone. Well, you know what? If you play it a certain way and I play it a certain way, it's going to sound different, even if the gear's all the same. So trying to differentiate those things, break them down, and we'll do it in sort of an organized fashion. And we'll probably also talk about a little bit what's going on in the business because, new pedals coming out, new guitars coming out, new models of guitars, new amps. All that stuff affects our purchasing choices because that's really the idea. In the end, we don't have that much money to spend on gear. We have a very limited budget because we have electricity and all kinds of unexciting things to pay for. So instead, let's make sure that our purchases count. I mean, that's really what we want to do. We want to make sure that when we buy something that it really counts. And so we'll probably do a little bit of reviews. I don't really want to talk so much about products, but we'll probably do some reviews and various things like that. But the main thing is I really want it to be user driven and a fun conversation to have. So, well, let's talk about let's give you an idea. So this week, and I'm going to use social media to drive the conversation right now because, this is our first episode and we don't have a lot of input, but we do from our Facebook and also from our YouTube channel at Dylan Pickups. Go check out Dylan Pickups on YouTube and subscribe to that. That'll kind of give you an idea of what we're all about. So one thing that has really, really come up this week. Well, first of all, let's take a moment and talk about, all these artists that we've been losing. It was going to come to a time. I am at the age where all my heroes were going to get to an age where they were going to start passing away because, everybody can only live so long unless you're Keith Richards. Keith Richards seems to have the secret and nobody else. So he seems to be surviving, but everybody else, obviously mortality is a thing. And not to put too much of a downer on the week, but man, we have lost a lot of really important artists these last couple of weeks. I was talking to my wife about it last night and was talking a little bit live on Facebook last night. Go buy concert tickets, man. Go buy some concert tickets this year because we don't know. We don't know how it's going with some of these various artists that are getting a little older. So I just want to touch on that a little bit. Just think about who you want to go see. I think I posted it last night. Who's on your bucket list? Meaning, before they pass away, who do you want to go see? And really go find them and go see that stuff because it seems to be meaning a lot. Everything goes in cycles, of course. And boy, we're at a bad part of the cycle right now. So that was one of the things that was pretty hot on social media this week. And instead of being negative about it, that's my take on it. Just go see some concerts this year. Make sure that you don't miss any of those amazing things. That being said, today is my 3rd wedding anniversary to my wonderful wife. And we are going to, because I'm actually recording this on January 19th. So tonight we're going to Derek Trucks. So speaking of very, very cool band that I've not gotten to see in a very long time, Derek Trucks is going to be very cool. So that's cool. The other thing, let's see, what else has been going on Facebook and the other social media outlets this week? It seems that, and I'm just going to give you a little bit of editorial because this is going to kind of talk to you, give you a tone for why I feel that what we're doing here is a little bit different than what we see on social media. Social media this week has been very driven by subjects that are kind of less important to your tone, really, than, like relicking guitars and pick guard color and that sort of stuff. And people seem to get really, really passionate about that. And I don't know. I just don't care. I think it's cool. I think it's cool if you like it one way, and I think it's cool if you like it the other. What I do think is when I show up to a gig and my guitar doesn't look like the rest of them, that's my favorite. If you show up and everybody's got a Sunburst Telecaster or Stratocaster and they all look the same, it doesn't make sense to me. We're all trying to make our own music, right? So, aesthetics plays into that some. So that's been pretty hot thing. People have been getting into snakehead tellies versus regular tellies and all this kind of stuff. And what's interesting about this is, to bring this all back around to tone, is a lot of people think that these aesthetic things have a huge difference to do on tone. So I'm going to give you my take on all the well, a lot of attention is given to appearance, okay? And you'll hear, well, the thickness of the finish doesn't let the wood breathe, and the peg head shape, and there are mechanics that go into all of that. So as I'm talking to you about this, and you have questions, or you wonder about any of that stuff, or your ears perk up and say, yeah, I wonder about that, you leave me a comment and we'll talk about that specifically, because that is this is exactly what we're doing. We're taking whatever we see every day and then breaking it down aspect by aspect. Does a relic guitar sound different than one that's not? Nah. So my take on this is, there are many, what I basically tell people, because they want to get into various debates with me about tone wood and all this kind of stuff. And what I basically tell them is, every aspect of the guitar contributes to its tone. Every piece, okay? So everything, everything on the guitar contributes to its tone. Now, the percentage of effect that it has on the tone of the guitar is probably a lot different than people want it or assume it to be. So, and we can get into those various subjects. If you look at DylanPickups.com, for instance, and you look at how sound travels in an electric guitar, that is one of our videos and blog posts at DylanTalksTone.com. It goes really into depth about how the string moves and how sound goes in an electric guitar. Does the wood matter? It probably does. But does it matter as much as people think it does? Those are things we can talk about. So anyway, this has just been an intro show to Dylan Talks Tone, our weekly podcast. This is just the first episode. As you see this video and it circulates around on Facebook and the various other places, YouTube and this and that, definitely keep in touch with me. Leave some comments, questions, anything you want to talk about, and I'd like you, the viewer and the listener, to drive the content that we're going to talk about on a weekly basis. If you have a request and you say, I want you to interview so-and-so, I'm not saying I can make it happen, but I will try. When it really comes to gear and technical stuff like that, please go check out our YouTube channel at Dylan Pickups. Check out our Facebook page at Dylan Pickups. And check out our blog at DylanTalksTone.com, because we want you to kind of get a feel for how we approach things and what you want to hear. What do you want to hear? That's really what it comes down to. Thanks for joining us this week. My name is Dylan McCurchie. This has been Dylan Talks Tone, episode 1. And we really appreciate you joining us. Have a great day, and we will talk to you next week. Next weekend is NAMM, so there's going to be a lot of cool things to talk about from NAMM. So between now and then, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to wait until after the NAMM show to shoot our next podcast. And record our next podcast. So if you see something at NAMM that you want to talk about, shoot me a message, shoot me an email, and say, hey, I want to talk about this. I want you to talk about it. I want to get your take on it. Please do that, and we will talk about some cool things that we saw at NAMM next week, because NAMM is next weekend, and that has always got some exciting things happening. Again, this is Dylan with Dylan Talks Tone, episode number 1. I hope you have a great day, and thanks for stopping by.